Hello everybody. Today you have percent estimation. So a percentage is a part to a whole ratio where the whole is always 100. So here are some examples, and we're going to use these examples to complete the charts below with the missing information. Alright, but quick notes about how to read these little boxes here is every box is worth 100. It is a 10 by 10 box. 10 times 10 is 100. And when you're reading the shaded parts, if the whole row or the whole column is shaded, it's worth 10. So finding out how much this is shaded, I don't have to count each box. It's not 1, 2, 3, 4, and so forth. You can just take 10 plus 5, or you can count by tens, 10, 20, 25. And the same goes for this. You can add up all the tens and then add the 5 to find it out, or you can count by tens, 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, 60, 70, 80, 85. So down here they want to know what percent of the box is shaded right here. Well, since there were 25 boxes shaded out of 100, which was the whole thing, percentages are always out of 100, the percent for this box that's shaded is 25%. Now, when they want it as a fraction, for example, just like they gave you the example here, the percent is how many boxes are shaded out of the whole thing as a percent. So the whole thing obviously is 100%, but the percentage is only the part. So it's like thinking of the part over the whole, which is the way we can think of fractions, is the part that's shaded out of the whole, which is how many pieces it's cut up into. So then they want you to write it as a decimal. Well, you can, if you have a percentage, you can always find your invisible decimal right here and move it 2 spots. 1, 2 to get 0.25 or 25 hundredths. All right, or if you needed to go backwards, if you needed to find, if they gave you a decimal and you needed to find the percent, you would move it the other way 2 spots to find out that it's 25%. So in this case, it's like taking 25 divided by 100 to get the decimal. Or if you had the decimal, you could multiply 25 by 100 to get 25%. A percent can also be written using a percent bar or a percent proportion. So here, I do have a couple set up right here. A percent can also be written as a percent bar or a percent proportion. So we're going to set up a percent bar and a percent proportion for each fraction below. So, now that you know how to use this information, one of the things I like to do is fill in my boxes. This was 1/5. So I filled in my 1/5 right there. Okay? And another thing I always like to do, since this was 3/4, I can take my boxes and just fill them in. Percent bars can be used to estimate the percentage. So here's an example from number 3. What is 50% of 50? So we're going to set up our percent bars just like we did in the top. So how do I know how much each box is worth? I can take the parts right here, right? And I can divide it by 2. So 50 divided by 2 is 25. And that's going to tell me how much each box is worth. Or I can take 100 and divide it by 2. And that's going to split it in half. So it's like saying, what are 2 parts of 100? It's 50%. So 50% of 50 is 25. because I have my 50 here and I can follow that right up and see that it's 25. I don't know why this is here, but it's gone. All right. Now the next one is, what is 25% of 100? Well, again, I can take the amount that's here and divide it by the number of boxes there are. So I had 4 boxes, all right? And you can label them, and you need to know how much each box is going to be worth up here. So here I'm going to try to label this one, okay? So 50 divided by 4, all right? And if you don't know, you would do it on your calculator. But for the sake, I'm going to use Alexa, what is 50 divided by 4?
50 divided by 4 is 12.5.
All right, so now I know what is going to go in my boxes. So I have 12.5. And again, you can add to the previous one. So 12.5 plus 12.5 is 25, and 25 plus 12.5 is 37. Okay? So I know that that one would go there. So each box is worth 12.5. And it's just like adding it to the previous number. Now, how do you know your percentages? Well, you can take the 100, which is the whole thing, and divide it by how many parts there are in the box. So we have 100 divided by 4. So I can again say, Alexa, what is 100 divided by 4? And she would say 25. So I would be adding it to the previous number. So I would have 25%, 25%. Okay? So if I wanted to find out your percentages, for example, each one of these is worth 25%. Now, what is 25% of 50? Well, I can look right here. 25% of 50 is 12.5. All right, the next problem. The next problem is, what is 10% of 50? So you're going to set up a percent bar and then describe what you notice. Okay, well, one of the things that they did here on your worksheet is they did not cut this up for you. Okay, but they did cut it up for one of the pieces. Now, 10% tells me how many pieces this needs to get cut up into, because I want to basically, how many times do I need to add 10 to get to 100? Well, each box I can create as a tenth. All right. So then again, I can take the amount, the total amount here, and divide it by the number of boxes that there are. So I can take 50 and divide it by the 10 boxes that are there. And what that's going to do is that's going to tell me basically what my top numbers are. Okay, and they're going to be worth, let's see how much. Alexa, what is 50 divided by 10?
50 divided by 10 is 5.
Okay, so what I'm going to need to do is label it by 5s. All right, and you can go backwards if you think that's good. So 50 take away 5 is 45. 45 take away 5 is 40. Or if you were going to do it from left to right, you would start at 5 and do 5 plus 5 first, which is 10. 10 plus 5 is 15, and so forth. Now, on the bottom, we need to know how much each of these is worth. Well, again, you can take your 100 and divide it by how many boxes there are. So there were 10 boxes. So 100 divided by the 10. So you can say, Alexa, what is 100 divided by 10?
100 divided by 10 is 10.
All right, so each percentage is going to be 10. But it will increase the further right we go. So if each box is worth 10, I believe I will be moving backwards. So we would have 80, and so on. All right, so I did set up a percent proportion for you here where you can cross multiply and divide, okay? Because I wanted to know if I had 10% out of the 100%, and I did not use a percent sign, but I'll put that in for you here just to show you that these are percentages. All right, I can take my 10%, multiply it by how many pieces there are in this, right? What is it of out of 50? So I can take 10 times 50 divided by 100. So, Alexa, what is 10 times 50 divided by 100?
10 times 50 divided by 100 is 5.
Now, if I was unsure, I could always refer back to my percent bar, and I can look at 10. What is 10% of the 100? I'm sorry, what is 10% of 50? It would be your 5 right here. Okay? So, I have these highlighted in pink. What you are going to be able to do is just on Kami, all right? All you have to do is edit 6 and 7. You do not have to do this whole thing on Kami. This is a lot of writing. It's a lot of work, okay? So the only problems I will check that you need to submit today on Kami is number 6 and 7. And then if you want to summarize today's lesson, all right, you can always take anything we've said in this video or any information from the top of your worksheet. All right, that's going to be it for today. Everybody, have a great day and stay safe.